Grand afternoon. How are you guys doing? I hope that you guys are having a great afternoon. Just want to drop hopefully a quick word. If not, let the Ruach have his way. Just some things that I want to share with you. I did try to upload a video on YouTube a couple of days ago. It's very poor quality. You could only hear my voice. You couldn't see my face. That's not why it's poor quality. There was a lot of background noise. It's the last video I uploaded, so my apologies for that. I want to try to present what the Most High gave me a couple of days ago, as well as some other things that has just been stirring in my spirit, and I want to share it with you. And so I pray that you have ears to hear what the Ruach is trying to say to his people, because he's wanting to get our attention. Okay. It concerns me, concerns the Ruach, that we are living in a day and a time where people are more focused on this stuff, this life. We're focused more on being comfortable here and now. We're more focused on fulfilling our destiny in this life only, forfeiting and forgetting about our eternal destiny. Forfeiting and forgetting about eternal reward. And it's maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm on the other side of 50 and I'm getting older. It's something that's on my mind more so. And, a lot of people say, well, I understand that because you're old, yada, yada, yada. So you're going to think about those things. But even if you're young, if anything the past 18 months has taught you is that having youth does not inoculate you from having to face eternity. And so with the Ruach, I believe, is imploring his people in particular. The world's not going to get it. Okay, people who aren't saved, people who don't know the Most High Yah, people who don't care about where they spend eternity, that they don't care about their souls, people who don't have ears to hear what the Ruach is saying, they're not going to care where they spend eternity. They're just worrying about here and now. But if you are saved, if you really are saved and born again, and you really love the Most High Yah, it should concern you. You should be concerned. Not worried, not afraid, but you should be more concerned about the things of the spirit and the things that pertain to eternity. You have to be reminded. I don't think a lot of people are reminded. The preachers are not preaching this anymore because it's called legalism and it's called whatever, religion. But this is still in the Word. Okay? We all are going to spend eternity somewhere. And we have to the Word says, make our calling and our election sure. Okay? Our calling to salvation. Not the call to ministry. Not the call to preach the gospel to the nations. Not the call to CBN, TBN, the Word Network. None of that stuff. Not the call to entrepreneurship. Not the call to all this stuff. Not the call to being married. None of that. The Most High is not concerned about who you marry, more so than he's concerned about where you're going to spend eternity. He's not concerned about if you're going to open up that business and be successful and prosperous. He wants to know, are you going to spend eternity with him? Worshiping him. That's the most important thing. All of us are here talking about, I want to get married, I want to get married. And there's nothing wrong with getting married. Okay? Marriage between a man and a woman is ordained by the Most High Yah. And it is a beautiful thing. Yah has his hands on it. But what did the word say about being married? We don't really go back to that, y'all. Luke 20:30. Luke 20 and 34. The sons of this age marry and are given in marriage, but those who are counted worthy to attain that age, that's called eternity, and the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage. Their marital state is not taken into consideration in eternity. It's not even a factor. You don't have a husband or a wife in eternity. You know how a lot of people who become widows and widowers, and they say, we're going to meet our loved one, our dead spouse in heaven. You're not going to know who your spouse is in heaven. According to what the scriptures say, your spouse is just for here, for this realm, this age. And you have to be counted worthy, the word says, to inherit that age, eternal life. What did it says in 1 Corinthians 7? 1 Corinthians 7, 28 through 29. But if you do marry, you have not sinned. And if a betrothed woman marries, she has not sinned. Yet those who marry will have worldly troubles. And I would spare you that. This is what I mean, brothers. The appointed time has grown very short. Very short. From now on, let those who have wives live as though they have none. In other words, once we put the ring on it or whatever, I'm not saying neglect your wives. I'm not saying neglect your husbands. But we're not supposed to be glorying in that either. Our marriages are not breastplates of righteousness that we get to brag about all over the world. And I'm not saying that. I'm reading you what the word says. The word says those who have wives should live as though they don't have wives. In other words, don't worship your wife. Don't worship your husband. Worship the Most High Yah. And y'all fulfill the purpose and the plan of Yah for your lives. In matrimony, that is the most important thing in the marriage. If your marriage is not glorifying the Most High Yah, your marriage is not from Yah. And there going to be some married folks that's going to split hell wide open because their marriage was not ordained by Yah, number one. And number two, they did not glorify Yah in the marriage. So for all y'all that, it's wonderful and fine and dandy to get married. But if you getting married just so you can have legal sex, or you getting married just so you can operate in ministry, or you getting married for the come up, or you getting married to your sugar daddy or your sugar mama, or you getting married to your baby mama and your baby daddy, but y'all not fulfilling the purpose and the plan of Yah that he has on both of your lives, then your marriage does not glorify the Most High Yah. And people may look at you, the more ethical people, the religious people may look at you and applaud you in this life. But when you stand before the Most High Yah, and guess what? The spouse is not going to be holding your hand in the great judgment. Every last one of us are going to stand before the Most High, the great white throne. And guess what? We are going to have to give an account for everything that we did, everything that we participated in. So stop glorifying marriage. If you're going to get married, go ahead and get married. But then you better make sure that in that marriage, you both are glorifying the Most High Yah. This is not the time to get unequally yoked. Because if you're unequally yoked, you cannot glorify the Most High. You stuck in there. You stuck like Chuck. And you better believe in this day and time that we're living in, the very last days of the days, the enemy is going to use your spouse to pull you away from the Most High. I promise you. I know. And it concerns the Holy Ghost. It concerns the Ruach that we are being pulled away with all kinds of distractions. We're being pulled away with all kind of earthly desires. Huh? What does it say in Matthew 24? Do y'all remember? Beginning of sorrows, right? I'm starting from the first verse of Matthew 24. Listen to this. Listen. Yahushua left the temple. He left the temple and was going away when his disciples came to point out to him the buildings of the temple. Now, what was Yahushua doing in the temples in Matthew 23? I want y'all to go back to Matthew 23 so we can understand the proper context. Matthew 23 was the chapter where the Yahushua were ripped into the Pharisees and the Sadducees. That is the woe chapter. Woe unto you, you scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites. He went in on the religious people. He rebuked the church. Yahushua rebuked the church in Matthew 23. Go read it for yourselves. He went in. He bashed his bride. Yahushua did it. So, in light of that, after he finished bashing his bride, after he went in on the church and the hypocrites in the church, Matthew 24 says Yahushua left the temple. Ichabod, the glory has departed from the temple. See, when the glory hit the temple, the sign of the glory hitting the temple is not that you hooped and hollered and shouted and danced and spoke in tongues and did all kind of jumping up and down. And I ain't saying that won't happen. But when the glory of the Most High hits the house, sometimes he going to rebuke you. He going to rebuke them religious spirits. He's going to rebuke the church and call them hypocrites. But then afterwards, the word Matthew 24:1 says that Yahushua left the building. He left the temple. And the disciples said, ask him questions about the church afterwards. After he finished ripping into the church, the disciples asked him questions about the church. And you know what? This is what Yahushua said after they inquired of Yahushua, of the church that he just finished rebuking. Truly I say unto you, there will not be left one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. And as he went on to the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming in and of the end of the age? The disciples, they weren't studying. You know why the Pharisees and the Sadducees was having church in the temple, and they were doing all what they do in the temple? And Yahushua will rebuke the Pharisees and the Sadducees in the temple? The disciples knew what time of day it was. They followed the glory because Ichabod, the glory had left the temple. Matthew 24:1, Yahushua left the temple. So they followed the glory. They followed the glory. And he went to the Mount of Olives. And they followed him there. And they spoke to him there. And they asked him, they inquired of the Ruach. They inquired, what will be the sign of your times that you're coming back? What will be the signs that we're in the end of the age? See, let me tell you something. The people who are most spiritually sensitive, the people who are hearing from the Most High, are going to leave out of the church buildings because the Most High is rebuking people in the church. In the end time, he's going to rebuke it. He's going to rebuke the church. Go read Matthew 23 and 24 and then tell me that I'm wrong. And the people that are hungry for the truth, the people that are hungry for a word from the Most High, not from their preacher and their pastor and their prophet and their apostle, they're going to say, what are the signs of the end times? The people of the kingdom are going to want to know what the signs of the end of time will be. If you are not hungry for knowing the signs of the end of days, then you got to question your salvation. You need to question, who are you serving? Are you serving man? Are you serving mammon? Or are you hungry for the Most High? And then we all know Yahushua answers every question they had. He did not, why are you asking questions? Why are you asking questions? No, he didn't rebuke nobody for asking him questions. He answered every question. He went into detail. About what it's going to be like: wars and rumors of wars, famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. He says these are the beginnings of sorrows. So Yahushua didn't hold anything back. He told him it's going to be some bad times, some sorrowful times coming in the end times. He even said, hey, don't have no kids. It's going to be hard. It's going to be rough. Talks about the abomination of desolation. Talks about all the signs. Talks about false prophets on the rise. Everybody acting all surprised about false prophets being manifested in this hour. We are in the end times. I really believe we are somewhere between the second and the third seals that are talked about in Revelation. We are in the thick of it. And I'm amazed that not more preachers and people who say that they're hearing from the Most High are not getting the people ready and telling them, hey, we're at the home stretch now, folks. It's time to stop. We're not telling the people that no more. Why? Why are you not going in Matthew 23 and 24 and telling the people what thus saith the Most High? Why are you all still having financial seminars? Why are you still having seminars about how to buy a house? Or you having seminars on how to find a mate, how to start a business, how to get comfortable here and not in eternity? We are in the last days. We are in the end times. And if your pastor is not preparing you for what's to come and not telling you what the word says, what the Ruach says is going to happen in the last days, then you need to question if they should be your pastor. It's not about telling you something you want to hear to make you hoopty-hoopty-hoo and feel good and shout and dance. This is about preparing you for the times that we're living in and the times that are to come. I look around and it's like people are like oblivious to the times that we're living in. We are in the last days. I'm going to repeat that. We are in the last days. You ought to not be satisfied with a fluff sermon and a fluff prophecy that'll appease your flesh, but does nothing for your soul, does nothing for your spirit. This is not that time, y'all. This is not that time. Go ahead and read Matthew 24. It's there. It's in red letters. I was about to say in black and white, but it's in red letters. This is what Yahushua said will happen in the last days. Told the women that are pregnant and nursing, y'all gonna have some issues. Whoa. Great tribulation. But y'all talking about, oh, we're going to be raptured up out of here. We're not going to go through no tribulation. But Matthew 24 says we are. Why is it that your pastors are not telling you this? Why is it that your pastors are giving empowerment seminars and not preaching the gospel so that you can get saved? Why is it we have preachers talking about their sex lives openly online instead of telling you that we are in the last days? Preachers telling you how to sex your wife, how to sex your husband to keep them satisfied. But nobody is telling you that we're closing out on the second seal and happening upon the third seal. Talked about in Revelations. Why is your pastors not telling you this? And it's in the word. Why? You need to ask yourselves that. Open up your eyes. He who hath ears to hear, let them hear what the Ruach is saying. It's in the word. It's in the word. It's right here. BibleGateway.com, BibleHub.org. Heck, just Google the word Bible. You will find online Bibles. Get you a Bible with plenty of translations. Any translation but the NIV, of course. And study your word. Because your pastors are not telling you a whole lot. They're leading you like lambs to the slaughter. And that's not what the Most High intended. Shepherds are supposed to save the flock. They're supposed to save the lives of the sheep, not offer them as sacrifices. Your pastors are offering you as sacrifices. That's why they keep burying your young. But they have all this power. Why they don't have power to save your children and your grandchildren? Your pastor's getting rich off of funerals. Huh? Come on now. This is the gospel of the kingdom. And you need to get in the word and find out what it's about. Because unfortunately, these pastors in these churches not telling y'all what's up. What you gotta do, you don't have to look at the news. My gosh, just look at what's going on around you. Open up your eyes. From the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also when you see all these things, you know that he is near. At the very gates. Truly I say unto you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words, saith Yahushua, will not pass away. Matthew 24:32-35. Just read your word. It's right there. Y'all want a word? I need a word. There are some words right there. Matthew 23:24. Go read it. Luke 20:33-35. Read it. Philippians 4:19. Read it. Corinthians 7:28-29. Read it. I'm going to let y'all go because I've been on here for a while. But recognize the time that you're living in. It's not the time to be... I don't know what these pastors are doing. Manifesting who they really are. If the preachers are not preaching this to you, they're not teaching you the word, somebody has cut them a check. And they've been bought off. Sorry about that. I just want to encourage you guys to know what time of day it is, to understand and discern the hour that we're in, and arm yourselves with the word of the Most High. A lot of people aren't teaching the word anymore. They're teaching doctrines of men. They're trying to placate you. They're trying to manipulate and control you. They're trying to get into your bank accounts. Okay? Some of them are trying to get into your bedrooms. You just got to know what time of day it is and read your word. So, most of you will know this already, but just if you read your word, you'll understand the day and time that we're living in, so you don't get caught up in some foolishness, because this is not the time to be caught up in foolishness. You guys have a great day and be blessed and be safe.